Emma the beggar for not letting my recently widowed mother live with me. Hello, I'm a female, 30. I live in a small 3-bedroom house with my husband and our 2 small children. So my dad, 76 years old, passed away in January 2023, and my mother, she's 67 years old, wanted to sell their house and move closer to us and retire as soon as she could after he passed. My husband and I spent many hours our multiple weekends to help her declutter, dispose, donate, and sort of all of the contents of our large 3-bedroom house. I might add that their house hadn't been decluttered 30 years. Her house is about 40 minutes drive from us. We also hold her hand through trying to decide if she could afford to retire, not comfortably, but maybe if she pinched pennies. She didn't have a clue how to pay the bills or what their budget had looked like. My father did all of that for her. We had no problem helping her with whatever she needed. We have been extremely involved and willing to help her with these huge life changes. Early on, she asked if she could potentially live with us temporarily if she found herself in a situation where her house sells and she hasn't yet found an apartment. Our answer was along the lines of, well, of course, we wouldn't leave you on the streets, but our house is cramped, so the longest we can help is a few weeks to a month. If you require more than that, please reach out to a friend. Her response was grateful at first. As some time went on, she would ask questions like, why didn't you want me to stay with you? Or which one of you doesn't want me to stay? Referring to my husband and I. Her tone was interrogative. Around this time, we noticed she was not looking for a place besides putting in an application that covered 3 or 4 apartment buildings where there is a substantial wait list for her. We began to tell her that she can still stay with us, but only if she actively looking for a place to live. Now her house is going to sell and she has to be moved out by May 31 and she doesn't have an apartment. She called us with only 11 days until she has to move out. It happened a bit faster than anticipated, but she gave the okay for the increased timeline. She told us the apartment she wants is a new building that hasn't opened yet and she is on the wait list for. She thinks it will be available in 1 month. There is no absolute date for it opening. She is making a ton of excuses why she won't look for another place, such as, this is the only place she feels safe and she needs a washer, dryer in unit and a garage for her car in the winter. We tell her she can't live with us unless we help her find an apartment to live that is available right now or very soon. She said she would rather live in her car with her cat and shower at a gym than find another place to live. After I clearly and calmly set my boundaries, her final words to me were, okay, fine, I bet your father is smiling down on you. And she unfriended me on Facebook. So guys, Emma the bad guy here? Emma the bad guy for refusing to cover the hospital expenses related to my sister-in-law's childbirth. My immediate family consists of me, my wife, and our son. We rely solely on my income to make ends meet, and while it is sufficient for our own needs, we don't have any extra money to spare. My wife's older sister is going through financial difficulties due to her poor choice in a partner. Her husband was incarcerated for theft while she was pregnant with their first child. Out of sympathy, we assisted her with everything and paid for her pregnancy-related expenses. However, as soon as her husband was released, she became pregnant again. Her husband is lazy and only works a few days per month, sometimes going for months without any employment. Given their situation, I ended up financially supporting her second pregnancy as well. On both occasions, we also gifted her some money. Shortly after giving birth to her second child, she became pregnant again with the third baby. At this time, my family was undergoing significant adjustments in our own lives, which involved substantial expenses. During her pregnancy, she repeatedly asked for loans that she never repaid, but we anticipated this and didn't plan on asking for the money back. When the expected date of her third childbirth arrived, we visited the hospital and provided a monetary gift as we always had done. After the baby was born, the hospital expenses had to be paid, and the sister's husband and his family looked at me when the bill arrived. I remained silent, and he handed me the bill. I then explained that I couldn't cover the hospital expenses this time. I told him that we had never agreed upon it in the first place. Additionally, I pointed out that the amount we had gifted her was roughly the same as the hospital bill, so it should have covered it. The husband became angry and started speaking negatively about me. He called me a bad guy for not paying. His family members also appeared angry and openly criticized both me and my wife. I responded by saying that they cannot expect me to pay when we didn't agree upon it beforehand. So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for not refunding my friends after we canceled our trip? I was planning a trip to Paris with my girlfriends, whom I know for a few years, for an event at TwitchCon. We've been planning this trip since February, and we were really excited to go on this trip together. But here's the problem: a lot of them were struggling with money. And knowing this trip was going to cost a lot, I was willing to chip in more for payment, so that way they were comfortable and able to enjoy Paris without worrying about money. We found an Airbnb that was a reasonable price and was close to everything in Paris. The total price of the Airbnb was 2,567 Canadian dollars, with the first down payment being 1,306 Canadian dollars. Since it was 4 of us, the split cost will have been 326 Canadian dollars, but knowing my friends are struggling with money, I was trying to be nice and make them pay me 200 Canadian dollars. So that means I paid about 599 Canadian dollars while they had it cheaper. Fast forward a few months, March, one of the girls backed out but told me to keep the money since she did promise to pay, which for her was very mature and kind. I was even willing to give her money back since I know she's struggling, but the kindness of her heart allowed me to keep it, so I didn't have to spend more out of my pocket. Now we are in present time, where another girl backed out after ghosting us for months, not letting us know if she's truly on the trip or not. She kept saying she's waiting on her passport since I'll be in a few months from applying. We were understanding and just wanted to know if she's down to go so we can book our plane tickets. She made us wait for months with no update. Now that is 2 of our 4 not going, knowing I have to pay for college and the second half payment of the Airbnb back to back, I started to stress out over money. So I told the girls we should just cancel and save up for another time. I tried contacting Airbnb to see if I can get a refund of my 1,306 Canadian dollars for them to tell me I won't get a dime back. Now I'm down with 1,300K, and 2 of the girls are demanding me to refund them their $200. Logically, that's not fair or right, IMO, since I paid more than they did. I was the one that lost the most, and for them to come at me demanding I give them their money back that I didn't get back, I would understand if I got the refund and kept it. But them knowing I didn't get a dime back and still demanding their money really upset me. I explained this situation for them, but they said it's not my problem. One of the girls has even threatened to take me to court over a small claim case. Right now, I'm on the fence, cause I know I'm not in the wrong, but them manipulating me by threatening to take me to court has been making me feel like I'm in the wrong. After I was being so kind and understanding of the finances, they don't even consider mine. Is it wrong to think if there is no refund, no one gets a refund? If anything, they owe me money. Am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for responding to a neighbor on Facebook? I'm staying at my mom's house while I'm doing an internship in my home city. She left this weekend, and I'm staying here by myself. For some context, my mom just moved into a new house and kind of nobody minds their business's neighborhood. So I'm out in the garage building stuff for my mom, listening music, using power tools. When I'm about 30 minutes in, the man that looked to me about my dad's age come up to me and asked me if I have any idea what I'm doing. I said yes, and asked him who he was. He pointed to his house and then asked, "And who are you?" I tell him I'm the daughter of the owner of this house. He says, "That's funny. Name of old homeowner doesn't have a daughter." So I said, "Well, I am not that one's daughter. She doesn't own the house anymore." He started getting argumentative, so I decided to just ignore him and keep working. He stands there trying to shut out the tools, but leaves eventually. I finish up for the day and have a beer before going inside. Well, yesterday morning, my mom calls me and tells me that there's a post about me on the neighborhood Facebook page that says I was rude, and then my mom was letting some disrespectful teenager play around with power tools, and that underage drinking was taking place and included photographic evidence. There were a few comments under the post criticizing him for taking pictures of me, but there were also a whole bunch saying crap like "kids these days" and etc. Here's what apparently makes me a bad guy. So I commented on the post saying, "Actually, sir, I'm 22 years old. I work in a shop when I'm up at the college, and I was not doing anything wrong. Please delete this post of me." He messaged me on Facebook, messaging calling me the entitled bad guy, and accused me of lying to him. Asked to see my ID, threatened to call the cops, then promptly blocked me. My mom is angry at me because I embarrassed her in her new neighborhood and said I should have ignored the post because now we both look like bad guys. And I was pissed because I didn't think I did anything wrong. Oh, and apparently, this dude's wife is on his side. So my mom is afraid of retaliation. If I was a 45-year-old man doing the exact same thing, nobody will bat an eye. I really don't think I was a bad guy here. But my mom sure seems to think so, and she will only respond in really cryptic way to my text I sent her. So, what do you think? Am I the bad guy for excluding my family from important news and then causing a fight when I did eventually share? I have been married for 5 years to my husband, and I am currently pregnant with our second, a little boy. We found out the gender over the weekend, and we are both thrilled. When we found out I was pregnant, we called his parents and shared the news. We have a beautiful relationship with his parents, and they have been massive pillars of support. I was in a hospital early on, and they were absolutely wonders. They took our little girl and made sure that neither my husband or I had anything to worry about. Now my parents are a different story. When they found out about my first pregnancy, they were a nightmare. They caused so much upset about how I was throwing my life away, and they never expected me to do something this crazy. They said they hoped I would have waited because I was basically having a teen pregnancy, and I should set a better example for my sister. She's 21. So, dreading the drama, I just did not share the news with them. When we found out about the second pregnancy, the first thing I told my husband was that I didn't have the energy to deal with everything again and wanted to wait until I was ready. He was really respectful of this and has not pushed at all. It is important to know that my parents live a plain journey away, and while we FaceTime regularly, once or twice a week, they haven't seen the changes in my body. They being said, I'm now 22 weeks, and it's getting to a weird stage where I have to tell them. So we call them and share the good news. I tried to maybe make it go down a little smoother by sharing the pregnancy and the gender at the same time, so it was a little more exciting. My parents just about flipped their lid that I had been keeping secrets and had not treated them like family. I told them that my husband and I had waited because we had complications early on, and we wanted to make sure that everything was okay before sharing. Then they asked if his parents knew, and I kind of dodged the question by saying that we wouldn't call them next. Also true, but only to share the gender. Well, my mom was passive-aggressive, saying that she guesses she will also be excluded from birth, and I've just had it. I laid it all out that they had been awful the first time, and I don't want them to put a cloud over the pregnancy as well. I said that they should be celebrating the pregnancy instead of lecturing, and then I just hung up. My husband said that he was proud of me for standing up for myself, but my sister, who also found out on the call, said that I was too harsh and that my parents only want the best for me, which is why I should focus on my career before a husband and babies. The thing is, I have a career and I'm proud of, and also a husband and babies. So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for using the designer perfume my mother-in-law gifted me? I have never been interested in perfume. In high school, I had the Christina Aguilera deodorant because every girl had it. But for 10 years, I've just been using the run of the male drugstore deodorant every day. My mother-in-law, however, is very into perfume. She lures 2 or 3 different designers once to create custom smells every day, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, she smells nice. Not so strongly, and if that's something she enjoys, I won't judge her for it. Recently, she asked if I want some of her perfumes, which she had tried but decided she didn't like the smell for one reason or another. I honestly told her that I don't care about perfume, which I had told her before she was aware already, but she insisted I take it. Now I'm someone who thinks, if it's there, I will use it so that it doesn't go to waste. So when my deodorant came to end a few days ago, instead of buying a new can, I thought I would try one of those perfumes. It was a Michael Kors perfume, and incidentally, on this day we were invited to my in-laws for dinner. No special occasion, just something we do regularly. My mother-in-law immediately told me I smelled good, to which I replied, thanks, and that I was wearing one of her perfumes. She asked which one. I told her, and she had a shocked look at her face and told me that that was a very expensive bottle and she will have thought I will save the perfume for special occasions. I told her that I feared the perfume would go bad if I didn't use it and that I thought she had intended me to wear it when she gave it to me. She told me that if I stored it in the box in a cool, dry and dark place, it wouldn't go bad. And I should know not to waste designers' brands. We didn't talk about it anymore that night, but she has told my husband via text that she was very disappointed how little value I placed in her gifts. Am I the bad guy for using the perfume? Am I the bad guy for asking whether her parents was okay with her visiting a single man? So me and my friend recently got into an argument, and I wanted to know whether I was in the wrong and what I might be able to do to salvage our friendship. So a few months ago, I introduced my friend to one of my other friends, as we all played an online game together. But I recently found out she and my other friend had been talking a lot outside of gaming, which will be fine if it wasn't because he's a single man around her age, and she's engaged to someone else, but at first, I saw no issue. Then it came to her saying they too often had game sessions alone in between games. It's a role-playing game where these characters bonded. Again, I found this rather strange, but I digress. The recent development, though, is that she's going to be visiting him for a weekend, alone. And I can't help but think this really inappropriate considering she's engaged to a different man. I understand that guys and girls can visit each other, and I understand that they can be just friends. But regardless, I asked her whether her partner knew of her plans and if he was okay with it, and she freaked out and called me immature and said I'm holding my partner back by not allowing him to visit single women alone for a weekend, etc. where Azala wanted to figure out was whether or not she had discussed that boundary with her partner. So I thought it a bit strange. And if it had been my relationship, it wouldn't have been a deal breaker if my partner went alone to sleep at a single person's place. So, am I the bad guy for asking my friend whether her partner was okay with her visiting a single man? Am I the bad guy for taking my Wi-Fi router when I move? I am moving to a new apartment tomorrow. I currently live with my roommate friend. We decided we weren't going to live together anymore a few months ago, and our lease together ends at the end of the month. She knows that I have been eager to move out of this apartment since I had storage problems. She has known where she's going to live since early March, and has known where she can move in for most of this time as well. I, on the other hand, have only just figured out where I was going to move to as of last week. But I have kept her in the loop by repeatedly letting her know that I will likely be moving out before the 30s, anywhere from the 50s onward. She has never raised any concerns about this. Last week, when I figured out where I was moving and my moving date, I told her. She and I were both out of town, so she said that we can talk about moving stuff once we were both back. 2 days ago, we were talking about stuff up and she asked if we were missing anything. I said no, but I wanted to remind her about the Wi-Fi router since I'd be taking it. She said, seriously? And I was like, yes. She thinks that I'm a bad guy and being inconsiderate because I don't have an explicit conversation about taking the Wi-Fi router. But I've been telling her for months that I'll be moving out before she does. I could have had that conversation with her, but I thought that it was understood and implied that it'd be taking everything that I owned, including my Wi-Fi router. She also thinks that I should leave the router with her until she moves out in 10 days, because she's starting classes, which are in person, and will thereby leave me without Wi-Fi, even though she has access to the school library for Wi-Fi and has friends in the area, so she can do her homework. Also, since the router is mine, the Wi-Fi bill comes to me, and then I just Venmo request her every month. This month, she hasn't even paid for her portion the Wi-Fi. I never charged her, so it's not like she's paying for a service she isn't getting. But in any case, she's pissed at me, and I don't think I will done anything unreasonable. So am I the bad guy here?